Hey, so I'm just gonna go ahead and break the ice. I can already feel a huge wave of discomfort and exhaustion coming from all my listeners. And yes, I'm tired too. This year has definitely been rough. But if you think about it, there's been some plus sides. Like, we're all beginning to realize that there's issues out there and that white supremacy is alive and well. We're beginning to confront those issues and realize that it takes every single one of us to dismantle this oppressive and pervasive system. I know. We've got COVID on one hand, a pandemic that has changed everyday lives. Then we have Black Lives Matter, where it's really making a lot of people uncomfortable. But all of this is really just bringing up debris, really showing us that it takes every single one of us to dismantle this oppressive and pervasive system that we live under. And hey, if you haven't had this aha moment in the past couple of months, you must not be on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok, any of the social media platforms. Honestly, it all got me thinking, while everyone's been using this time to have their wake up call, mine happened a while back. All right, it's story time. Picture this. Fall 2013, me, a young whippersnapper who just got a bright idea, I go up to my mom, so excited to hear what she thought. Her words, "Good luck with that, Timia. Your hair, it's a lot more difficult than you think." Whoa, this is what my mom told me when I said to her for the very first time that I wanted to stop getting relaxers. For the majority of my childhood, I didn't even know what my actual hair texture looked like because I got it chemically straightened. And now, around this time, at age 15, I could tell that my mom's face spoke way more volumes than her words did. It told me that society was not going to think that my hair was beautiful. Deep down inside, I already knew what it was going to say. It was going to say that my hair was too kinky, too difficult, too hard to manage, too rough. Oh, and of course, the dreaded words, too nappy. For most Black women all around the world, the kinkier your hair texture is, the more these words and its connotations are stuck to you. Now, let's cut to summer 2016. I like to call this the glory summer. I was having a good time. It's right before freshman year. I was going to Virginia for a family reunion, and I was at my pop house when all of a sudden we were eating breakfast, and he said very seriously, looking across the table at both me and my sister, "Timia, you're going to have a lot more opportunities because of your lighter skin complexion. Jalen, your sister, she's going to deal with a lot more because she has a darker skin tone." That was a hard pill to swallow. Both me and my sister are Black women, and we deal with both racism and sexism in our lifetimes, but I'm supposed to have more opportunities in life just because of my lighter skin? Both those moments in 2013 and 2016 had me bugging. Like, what did it all mean? I didn't understand it. It wasn't after much digging and a lot of soul searching that it hit me. My mom and my papa's reaction, they were a lot more protective and defensive to how they grew up in society. It's connected to a phenomenon that don't nobody wants to talk about. It all comes down to one word: colorism. Colorism is most commonly known as the prejudice or discrimination against those with darker skin tones. This is different from racism. I can already see some people getting confused, but this is different because this form of discrimination happens largely within communities of color, where people of color have been conditioned to police themselves as well as their own people based on appearance. It was a term coined by Pulitzer Prize winner Alice Walker in 1982. But y'all, 2020, it really demands a new definition. Colorism is not just the prejudice or discrimination against those with darker skin tones. This is a huge part of it, but what we're missing are two other things. It also holds featurism, where people with non-white features are discriminated against, and texturism, where the looser or straighter your hair texture is, the more value you have in society. This new definition is needed because you see the intersectionality of privileges and disadvantages in people's lives. And contrary to popular belief, this does not just affect us Black people. All right, do me a favor, go to Google, search most beautiful woman in, insert any country, India, Brazil, South Korea, Nigeria. Tell me what you see. This simple Google search demonstrates just how much whiteness and westernized features have been deemed better all over the freaking world. And it leads to these popular manifestations that maybe you haven't thought about: chemical relaxers, racialized plastic surgery, and skin bleaching and skin lightening creams. Now, my understanding of colorism goes far beyond just my own personal experiences. I'm truly able to speak toward this because in spring 2018, I joined with UT faculty and 3 other amazing students to become the Color Complex team. We were awarded money by UT's President's Award for Global Learning. Can I say cha-ching? Okay. And we were given this money so that way we can do a research and social impact project over colorism. And as you can tell by this picture with Vita, Rebecca, and Christine standing right beside me, we're all very different. But that didn't stop colorism from impacting our lives in one form or fashion. And so this really pushed us to look at this issue through a global and comprehensive lens. So first, we did our qualitative research at UT Austin with a total of 20 interviews with both Black and Asian female students. We were asking questions that were unbiased, trying to understand their thoughts around beauty, identity, and self-worth. Then the following summer, we went to Accra, Ghana, and did similar research at the University of Ghana, Legon. We were able to achieve around 40 interviews with local women on campus and a local fishing community in Chokor. All of this research helped us see that there's universal themes. Both populations were connected through colorism. For instance, how many times have you heard this phrase from somebody you know? Don't go outside in the sun for too long. You're gonna get too dark. Too dark. Too dark. That's a saying people say when they don't want your complexion to be darker than what it already is. We found that this was something that more common than not was an easy quote for people to relate to. One of our biggest discoveries was that colorism is reinforced through everyday language and social encounters. It can be your family, friends, colleagues who create an environment of discrimination with just merely their words. This common hesitancy of getting darker might seem harmless, but in reality, it only furthers the stigmas of colorism. This theme of social language really impacted both Black and Asian students at UT Austin. Even in Ghana, we saw how it ultimately amplified the culture around skin bleaching in the country. Which brings me to my next main theme. While we were in Ghana, we saw that the majority of the darker skin complexions within the population was not really being reflected in the media. Television, radio, ads, anything, most of it all said that to be anything positive in life, you have to become something that isn't naturally you. This theme of lack of inclusive media representation was something we saw at UT Austin with our Black and Asian interviewees. Our findings were screaming that this was a huge and important part of colorism because it actually contributed to how people self-perceived. Now, I'm gonna get you with this really, really big one. This is the most important discovery that we were really able to see, which is that colorism is not just this intangible thing that you can't touch or feel. It's real and it's structural. We were able to see at UT with our research that Black women really question if they should be able to change their hair or not before job interviews. There's this perception that people, specifically Black people's hair, is naturally unprofessional and unkempt. Entities even go as far as to use a sense of professionalism, work policies, and student guidelines to control and conform. This is why you have the stories like the New Jersey high school wrestler who had to cut his locks off just to be in his championship match, or the Mont Bellevue Texan high schooler who couldn't even walk across the stage unless he cut his hair. It's stories like this that really helped us to see that this is a structural issue within our society. But the last thing that I want to leave you with, one of the things that I really want you to see is that colorism stays a part of the society as long as we let it. It stays normalized unless we start to look at the deeper history. We were able to follow up on some of these themes through our teammate's story. Christina, growing up, hated how her monolids looked, and she wanted to change them. As a graduation present, her family from Korea offered to pay for her to have double eyelid surgery, just as they had done years before for her cousins. This was sort of like a rite of passage going into higher education and the professional world. But it wasn't unique. What we saw at UT was that our research pointed out a culture around Southeast Asians going abroad to get this plastic surgery because of the stigmas placed upon their features. What's even more important is that nobody really knows the deeper history around the double eyelid plastic surgery. It was actually first developed and performed by Dr. D. Ralph Miller. Y'all, that name is American as heck, okay? So you can already know that this is not an Asian person creating and developing this surgery. It was an American military plastic surgeon that created this in the 50s during the Korean War. This was created and pushed by the Korean War that really made Asians seem as an ambivalent threat. And so what you would do is have people altering eyes just to make their features look more trustworthy and good-natured. It's facts like these that show us that double eyelid surgery is not just merely a beauty choice. It was only through unlearning, relearning, and redefining that I was really able to start to see past all of this. And that's what I leave with you today. You really have to begin to unlearn all of the stuff that society has told you, relearn what's the true history, and redefine what the real value is in our society. Yes, I'm a Black woman in the US who has and still struggles with the negative connotations put with Afro-textured hair. But at the same time, I'm a lighter-skinned woman who benefits greatly from a society that upholds white supremacy all over the world. With this breakthrough, I'm determined to make my new normal anti-colorism. I ask, what will your new normal be? Thank you.